Hello, this is Rosalie, and it's Friday, March the 6th, 2020. I know I haven't did a Fridays with Rosalie since January, but I spent time, had cataracts removed from both eyes, can see much better, can actually read and write without glasses on. However, my eyes this one is very dry, and I do need reading glasses. So I will have new glasses in a couple weeks, but I won't need to wear them all the time. So this is March, and when we think of March, we think of spring. I want to talk a little bit about spring cleaning. Not necessarily the house, but you do. Some of us do. Some people do. I have a memory of the heavy curtains coming down, the new curtains going up, and air coming in, and everything is feeling so breezy, and the fragrances of the flowers are floating through the house. Not going to do all of that so much, but I'm talking about spring cleaning in our lives. 12-step programs talk about taking that personal inventory, and then once you do that inventory, you do it every day to if you find that someone you had harmed, you make amends. But then you also express your gratitude for your joys and your blessings. And I wanted to acknowledge that this is Women's History Month, and it's the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment. Want to also take a minute to talk a little bit about overcoming obstacles. My motto for life is obstacles are what you see when you take your eyes off your goal. And, well, of course, yes, you do have to establish some goals. But if you have a goal and something happens, life happens, you can get caught up in issues of family, health needs, and so forth. But that I need to always know that once you get past today, there is tomorrow. And if that goal is out there, you can take steps toward reaching that goal. And we're talking about spring cleaning. Yes, spring cleaning. What I'm using to help me with this is this book. What if God wrote your to-do list? And it says 52 ways to make most of every day. And chapter 9, 10, and 11. Count the cost is 9. 10 is quit one thing. We give up something. As I mentioned, this was Lent. And a number of times we think of what we're going to give up for Lent. People will give up sweets. In the past, I've given up ice cream. In the past, I only ate one meal a day sometimes. There are various things that I would give up, mostly centered around food. Then last year, the last couple of years, I heard when her said, maybe you want to add something new to your life. Do something that you haven't done before. So chapter 10 in this book, it says, quit one thing. Separate yourself from one thing and put something new in that place. Do something new. And chapter 11 talks about planning your escape, and it uses the illustration of how one would plan to escape from the house if there was a fire. So my thing is, whatever you want to change, plan your escape from what's holding you back. What's holding you back? What can I say? Oh yes, Women's History Month. 40 years ago, 39 years ago, because it was March of 1981, and she asked me in February, someone asked me would I speak at their church for a program she was having for women. It was called A Day Apart. What's the theme? She didn't give me a theme. So what do you want me to talk about? She said it was my decision. Okay, what am I going to talk about on this day apart? I didn't have a clue. Prayed about it, And on the Wednesday afternoon before I was to speak, I was driving home from work, and it was like, I always say an angel speaks to me. In my left ear, it said, tell your story. Tell my story. How am I going to do that? Do I really want to do that? So the next day I said to this person, told her about my experience on Wednesday. And she said, oh, you sure you want to do that? I said, I have to. She said, maybe you don't want to. I said, that's what I'm going to do. So Thursday or Friday, because we were co-workers and we talked about it, so that's what I'm going to do. So Saturday morning, I was a little nervous, but I walked in and I don't know how many people were there now, maybe 25 or 30. And I was introduced because at that time, I was an employee of the Domestic Abuse Project of Delaware County in their Chester office. So I started out by saying, my name is Rosalie Grant, and I'm a battered woman. I'm a former battered woman, and I'm here to tell my story today. That took some planning. It took some courage, I guess, but I did it. That was the beginning of me telling my story publicly, because I remember once I had been asked to write my autobiography, and I wrote an autobiography, but I put 16 years of marriage on 3/4 of a page, and I knew that wasn't telling my story. Somewhere during that time, I rode past a church, and on the marquee it says, obstacles are what happens when you take your eyes off your goal. And I had some goals at that time. One was because I had completed high school in 1959, but I had not gone to college. And I guess it was probably in the mid-60s, late 60s, early 70s when I started taking one college course at a time. So when I started to tell my story, I was pursuing my undergraduate degree as well as working and as well as taking care of my mother and 3 children. So that wasn't easy, but I had people around me and that were very spiritual, and I know they were praying for me, and my goal was in front of me, so I had to do that. Careful planning, I can't say I carefully planned too much. I had been married for 16 years. We had good times and we had some extremely unhappy times. There was abuse of myself and my children. We also grateful that no one was ever seriously injured in that situation. When I was leaving or planning to leave, I didn't have any written goals, but I knew that I had to make sure, for me, that I would not have any additional children. I was about 36, 37. I did plan, and then I did self-sabotage. I borrowed some money once to get an apartment and move, and then I took a vacation because I'm going to come back, and then I'm going to move, take this vacation, and then move. I spent the money, so I had to go back and redo that. But anyway, I left. I left on January 20th, 1977, and I know that because President Carter was at that time giving his inaugural address as the movers was moving me out. So I have survived 43 years on my own. Now, within that 43 years, I've completed 2 degrees, plus a certificate in gerontology. Kids are grown, have 8 grandchildren and 2 great-grandchildren now, have bought cars, bought a condo, and I feel very blessed. And blessed to have friends, blessed to have a spiritual life, blessed to have, and spiritual life for me includes friends who pray for me, includes my church, includes the 12-step programs that I have been affiliated with over the years. And yes, no, I didn't develop a problem with alcohol, but I had a serious problem with food because it was nothing for me to eat a gallon of ice cream in a day. I said, I'm an ice cream junkie. I know that. I'm also a foodaholic because someone said, who would overeat a can of peas? And my hand went up. I would. Don't need to heat them up. Just take a spoon, eat them right out of the can. And I have done that. So that speaks to my addiction. Through that, I got connected with adult children of alcoholic parents and dysfunctional families. Well, I was definitely an adult child of a dysfunctional family. And from that, I got connected up with artists recovering through the 12 steps, which gave me the courage to identify myself, to be able to say I am a writer. Because before that, I was saying I'm an aspiring writer. And someone said to me, no, Rosalie, you are a writer. And the first time I said that to a teller, it was so empowering. I felt that, really, I could say I'm a writer, which I am. Now I meet people on the street sometimes that I haven't seen for a long time. And they say, Rosalie, are you still writing? I said, how do they know? Well, then I know how they know. I can think how they possibly know. But yes, I do still write. Now, getting back to taking your eyes off the goal, I have 3 books that I have not completed. Now, that's an obstacle. What obstacles that I have seen, I have taken my eyes off my goal. So I'm saying today, recommitting that I'm putting my eyes back on my goals and getting those books written and not leave them for my grandchildren or great-grandchildren to pick up this material and say, we're going to complete this in grandmother's memory. Carefully plan what your exit, it says. Plan how you're going to get out. Just as if you were, you have a exit plan from your house if there's a fire. You're going to plan and know there's a cost. Weigh the cost, positives and negatives. There's some other things. Do your research. Know yourself. You're going to pray a lot. And it's recognize who you are. I talk about self-awareness. Recognize your talents and your skills and put them to work for you as an individual. So this is it. This is March. This is spring. It's time to spring clean your house, your life, whatever else. In my case, even my car needs a good cleaning right now, and I'm going to see that happens. Okay, until next time, be good to yourself and kind to someone else.